Good afternoon. Welcome to the Crow Wing County Planning Commission Board of Adjustment meeting this afternoon. It's 3 p.m. on November 20th. Please rise for the pledge. Thank you. If you've not already done so, I would please ask you to silence your cell phones. If you are online, please make sure that you've muted your microphone until you're ready to speak. And please note that this public hearing is being recorded. The first item on our agenda is roll call. Rock Linemy.
Here.
Sue Maskey.
Here.
Andy Larson.
Here.
And I'm John Auger. I would note that our chair, Rebecca Best, is absent. Item 2 is review and approval of the minutes and findings of fact for the meeting held on October 16th, 2025.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to
Yes.
make a motion to approve the findings of fact and the minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Moved by Rock, seconded by Andy. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. This afternoon, we have 3 items of new business. We greatly appreciate your patience as we conduct the meeting, but if you're on this agenda, you got lucky. It's one of the meetings where we have the fewest number of items we've had in a long time. Our procedure is when we call your application, you will be admitted to the meeting if you are online, or if you are in person, we would invite you to come to the table here in the front. Once seated, to please state your name and address for the record. The staff will then read your request into the record. We then provide the applicant an opportunity to add any new information that has not previously been submitted. After that, we'll open the request up for public testimony. This afternoon, we will have 2 public testimony opportunities, one in person and one online. If you are online and wish to speak to an application, please use your hand icon to indicate to us that you wish to speak. Then once you are admitted, please unmute your microphone and state your name and address for the record. If you are speaking in person, we would invite you to come to the microphone at the podium in the center aisle. In either case, you will then be given 5 minutes to give your testimony. Please do not repeat what someone else has said, and please do not read your emails or letters that have already been received and read. Everyone who wishes to give testimony will have an opportunity to do so. We will then bring it back to the applicant to address the items brought forth from the public. Please note that once we close public testimony, we will not reopen it. We ask all participants to please be respectful and note that all questions and testimony are to be directed to this board or staff. Our decision process is as follows. For a preliminary plat or land use map amendment, of which we have none this afternoon, we make a recommendation to the county board. For a variance or conditional use permit request, this board makes the final decision. We make our decisions based on our findings of fact. To help us do that, we do on-site visits where we physically go to the property and examine the site and look at what is planned. Prior to this meeting, we each have read every letter and email that was submitted, and we listened to the public testimony this afternoon and the applicant. In addition, we have a worksheet that we use to help summarize the findings of fact. Preliminary findings have been included in the staff packet. I would like to pause for a moment to let the public know that we greatly appreciate your correspondence and input. Next, I will ask each board member to confirm that they have reviewed the preliminary findings of fact for each application that were provided in the packet. Sue?
Yes, I have.
Rock?
I have.
Andy?
I have.
And I have as well. So this afternoon, our first application is item 3.1, RAN Property Group LLC, preliminary plat. Chris, if you would please present the staff report.
Mr. Chair, if it's okay, we'll invite the applicant up to the table.
Oh, yeah, I should do that, shouldn't I?
We missed
Yes.
one step, that's okay.
Could you please state your name and address for the record?
Andrew Ranweiler, 4706 Wilderness Court, Brainerd, Minnesota.
Now, Chris, would you please?
Thank you, Mr.
present
Chair.
the staff report?
The applicant tonight is Rand Group LLC with the parcel number of 99270692. The property in question is adjacent to Sandberg Road in Gilbert Lake. This is located in First Assessment. The request this afternoon is a preliminary plat for Trailside Preserve with a total of 21 lots. I'm going to scroll down to the survey so you can see the lots and the layout themselves. I'll zoom out just a little bit. Might be hard to see. So this is, you have Gilbert Lake Road running north and south, and then you have Sandberg Road running east and west to the south. You can see that the layout of the lots is such that there'll be a road coming off of Gilbert Lake Road here, and there'll be a cul-de-sac at the end. There is a proposed easement for those that live within the plat for a walkway to be able to get access to the Paul Bunyan Trail. And then the way that this is laid out is a little bit different than probably what it will be laid out when it's done. We did get some comments from Highway. One of the comments that they made was that there can only be 3 entrance points off of the cul-de-sac. And so they've already been working on that. We've been working on that with the applicant and with their surveyor, Kramer Lease DeLeo, to get that resolved. It shouldn't be a problem from a standpoint of the layout. And then Lot 15 was proposed here to come off Gilbert Lake Road. The entrance will actually have to come off with the proposed new road here. Trailside Court. I know that there has been some questions from the public. One of the questions that I saw come in, and I thought I'd answer it now, was that this is located in the First Assessment District, unorganized territory. There's been some questions as to what is the zoning on the property. So the zoning on this property is rural residential 1, which allows for 1-acre lots. The county board went through a process back in 2023 and 2024 and updated the county's comprehensive plan. Part of that comprehensive plan review included review of the county's land use map, or commonly known as maybe the zoning map. And so one of the changes that the county board made at that point was in first assessment. One of the things that was heard through public feedback and when we were looking at drafting and putting together the comprehensive plan was the need for more affordable housing and for smaller lots, because it was seemingly difficult with these larger lots to make them affordable for folks. And so that was something that the county board heard. They thought that it was important, and so they made that change. And so if you're in the First Assessment District or the unorganized territory north of Brainerd-Baxter, if your property isn't within the Shoreland District, which is 1,000 feet to a lake, if your property isn't commercial or any sort of an industrial zoning, anything in the rural residential area that's our non-shoreland is going to have a zoning classification of rural residential 1. And so the question is, well, how did that happen? So it happened through the process of public meetings, and so there was no notice mailed out to everybody in the county where their zoning was changed. There were public hearings. We followed state statute as far as making those changes, and so just to be clear for folks to know that's how the zoning changed on this property compared to what it would have been in the past. So, Mr. Chair, I think at this point that's all I have. I do want to point out that there are 2 septic sites on every property. The road for Trailside Court is going to be required to be built up to the specifications of the unorganized territory, and that's working with Highway Department on that specification. It'll be a blacktop road with a 7-ton capacity. There is a 66-foot wide proposed dedicated area for the roadside itself for Trailside Court. This proposal, as submitted, meets all ordinance requirements, and there's no need for any variances, conditional use permits as part of this process. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Chris. Board have any questions of Chris at this point?
No.
Hearing none, do you have anything as the applicant, anything you'd like to add at this time?
The surveyors, and I don't know that it got here, but KLD was able to address the two concerns that the highway department have for lot 15 and lot 7. So they adjusted the driveway location, and they actually, around the cul-de-sac, they put controlled access, like a controlled access, so that nobody can in the future put a driveway.
Yeah, we did, we have received that survey.
Did you, I
Yeah,
thought
we
they
do
were
have
gonna
it.
submit it to the
We
county
do have
for an
it.
updated,
Yep.
but I know it's there, so
Yeah, we do have it.
Anything else?
that's it.
Okay, this is a public hearing, so we will invite first those in the room that wish to address the board on this item to come forward. And all you need to do is step forward to the podium at the center aisle and state your name and address. Anyone wish to address the board? Please.
Carrie Martin, address is 16682 Jean Street, Brainerd, Minnesota. My question is, when you say that these are going to be affordable housing, what is the home going to be built at for affordable housing, the cost?
Mr. Chair, I can maybe just try to answer that, and Andrew, maybe you could answer too. It's not something that, I think when people hear the term affordable housing, I think they hear the idea of subsidized housing and that sort, and that's not going in here. This is going to be single-family residential homes, and it'll be built typically the way that Mr. Randler does his plats, is that they build out the homes in the plat themselves, and you can see examples of that if you want to go up County Road 77, heading out west of town. There's a couple plats they've done out there, Sanctuary Way, and what's the other one? Sanctuary
Ridge.
Sanctuary
Wilderness.
Ridge. There's a couple plats they've done, so you can see examples of their type of construction that they do.
So these homes will be built at a value of $300,000 or more?
That I can't speak to the value. I don't know what the value would be. That'll be
So
determined
what-
by the county assessor, so.
That's what we need to know, because all of us that live on Jean Street, Sandberg, and Paul, all of our homes are $250,000 or more. We want to know what these values of these homes are going to be.
That's information we will not have.
How do we acquire this? Because as the builder, he should know what he's building these homes for, what they're going to have a retail value of. So what are they going to be retailing, Andrew, for? Are you going to build them at $250,000, $350,000? That's something we need to know.
Yeah, ma'am, we direct the testimony to the board first,
Okay, sorry.
please. And he'll respond, he'll have the opportunity to respond to your question
Okay.
after we hear all of the public testimony.
Okay.
Okay?
So then my other question was, did you say there's two septics? Because I didn't quite hear exactly what you said, Chris. Is there
Yeah,
two?
each property has two septic locations, a primary and an alternate.
Okay, and each of these lots is only 1 acre?
Correct.
So how did that get changed? Because it's always been a standard that you have to have 1.5 acres or bigger to be able to put a septic on it. Where did that change?
As I mentioned during the introduction, as I introduced it, the county board updated the comprehensive plan in 2023 and 24. And when they did that, part of that update to the comprehensive plan also updated the zoning map, which then made these lots 1 acre lots. That was approved by the county board in August of 2024.
Okay, these look really tight, very tight. We don't have tightness over on Jean Street, Gilbert Lake Road, Sandberg Road, Paul Street. We all have space. We like the space. Why are these being built so close? Why is there not space in them?
They're 1 acre lots. So this is the layout for a 1 acre lot, meeting the requirements of the ordinance.
And has this piece been purchased already by RAND, or is this piece still available for sale?
Who has the ownership of this, do we know? Can you answer?
We own it.
Yeah, it's owned by the Randweiler.
Okay. That was my questions for right now.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak, please?
Mr. Chair, do you want me to wait till the end to answer?
Yes. Please state your name and address for the record.
Live at 10220 Gilbert Trail.
Thank you.
My concern is traffic. I've had family that's lived on Gilbert Trail, Gilbert Lake Road North, I guess, since about 1970. And, I've lived there personally since about 2004. The increased traffic on Wise Road is alarming. So I know that there was a project that made some turning lanes, which was greatly appreciated. But I just want to know, I'm thinking about 21 homes, I'm thinking about 1 or 2 cars per home, I'm thinking about delivery trucks, I'm thinking about school buses. I'm really concerned about what the intersection's going to look like. So that's my big, big concern. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Jeremy Prame, 10290 Gilbert Trail. We do have a petition pretty much signed by everybody in the Gilbert Lake Road down, right? And I think I share some of the sentiments on traffic. There's no outlet. It's a dead-end road, right? There's 47 properties, houses on it already with one single outlet to Wise Road. We just, as a county, spend a bunch of money to redo that intersection. And now we're gonna jam or propose jamming 21 properties in the corner here to access through that same intersection so Mr. Randweiler can turn a quick dollar. Doesn't make sense, right? And just because the zoning, I don't know who was at those public hearing, I'm guessing nobody here heard about it. You admitted you didn't send out any notifications about it. It was within the law, whatever. Probably was a bunch of developers like Mr. Randweiler that were advocating for it, right? Because he can just make more money.
I didn't see Andrew at any of the meetings for those.
I said like him.
I didn't see any other, I
So
don't,
the, like it doesn't benefit us, so the county commissioners, and you can have a copy of it, are gonna see everybody's opposed to this. Nobody wants properties jammed in. That's not why we live there, right? Nobody moved up there because they want a development like this right next to them. And if something like this is to move forward, you're gonna have to address that intersection, which we just spent a bunch of money on. That should solely be the expense of the developer, right? Don't be the patsy here and agree to let him make some money putting lots in. And then 5 years down the road, 2 years down the road, you're gonna be stuck holding writing the check to put in a roundabout or whatever it is you think you need to put in there, right? Think through this completely. This doesn't fit in this location, doesn't fit in the area. There's plenty of land in Crow Wing County. You can go put a development like this that doesn't have the limitations that this site does have, so.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Thor Thorson. I live on 9915 Sandberg Road, so I'm right across from this. And first of all, I mean, I don't envy you guys at all. This is tough. And you didn't see us probably at those meetings because, like a lot of people, until it really hits home, you know, we're not going to go to every meeting you have to decide all these things. So the general public, we're not about that, right? So all of a sudden, like they mentioned, it does seem really packed in there. Now, I know it's 1 acre lots and that's what you can do, but you're the board. You don't have to just say yes. I think you can decide that. I'm not saying 2.5 acre lots. That would be, I mean, that'd be great. We'd love to have 9, 10 homes in there. That'd be a beautiful parcel. The county would benefit. It would be aesthetically pleasing. This is going to be not great. It's going to be really packed in. But I just have a couple things. A lot of people are talking about the traffic, and that's a big one for me too. Every morning I leave, and it is going to be a lot of traffic, but there's a berm or whatever it is just to the, as you're heading north on the right. There's a household there. You know what I'm talking about, right? This is a big hill, and you can't see to the right. If you're going to make a left turn, you can't see, and you're creeping out into traffic to try to see. So I definitely want to see that approach if this goes through. And the other thing is I was going through the plat here, and I wouldn't have noticed, but it's right across from my house and Tom, or Wayne. there's this green part that looks like it says a proposed major contour. I don't know what that is, but I see it along the road there, but I don't, it's right out in front of my lot and Tom Nelson's lot, Wayne Nelson. And it has all these green lines and it says a proposed major contour. And I just really want to know what that means. Unless I'm reading that wrong, it could be. So, I am not opposed to anyone being able to develop property. We all own property, we all own land, we love it, right? But at the same time, it seems a little excessive to just because you can pack it all in there. I mean, 10, 15 homes would be beautiful in there. It would still be spacious. I drove by Kinder, I know this all just happened, but Kinder Corners and Jacksonville. It's beautiful. The county looks beautiful. I drive by, I see all these nice homes in there and it's spread out. It makes our county look really good. This is going to make our county look pretty packed in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sherry Reberg, 16715 Paul Road. As Thor stated, I too am concerned about the berm or the hill or whatever you want to call it, the corner of Gilbert Lake Road. It's an accident waiting to happen. I see it every day. I travel that road. Traffic is horrendous. When the road was redone, I'm not sure all this planning was done and we were having to take alternate routes home, but nothing was done about the main concern. I know you all remember back when the railroad tracks were there. That was just as dangerous. You took care of that. But this has not been taken care of and it's a problem waiting. I too agree that this is just packed in. We're concerned, we live on Paul Road. We're concerned you may have an outlet coming out of there onto Sandberg Road. What does that do for all of us? It really increases our traffic as well and makes us more at risk. So I'm not sure if that is planned or not. The other thing is there going to be a well on each lot? Chris?
I would assume so.
Okay. So what does that do to our wells? What does that do to our water table? That many houses is really going to cut into the whole water table of the area. Has anybody done any research on that? That's what I would like to know. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else in the courtroom wish to address the board on this item? Please.
Dustin Lick, 10194 Gilbert Trail. I know there was an engineering study done, it said, and I don't necessarily know how to read into that, but I'm concerned about the water runoff with all of the driveways, rooftops, street. My particular lot, every spring sees major flooding as is. It can almost come 3/4 up to my building. And I don't know what this is gonna do. I know a lot of the land slopes towards our corner, Don and I. So I would like to know what that looks like. If there's been any studies done, or I don't know what that research looks like, but I'd like to know that I'm not gonna get flooded. And if a retaining pond or something needed to be done in the neighborhood to make it.
No, I got in.
Sorry about that.
Continue, please. Continue.
Yeah, if some type of retaining pond or something needed to be done to receive all the water runoff, then that'd be something to maybe provide a solution to that, if it is a problem. I just don't want to get flooded.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Anyone else in the courtroom? One more chance. Anyone else in the courtroom wish to address this item?
One of the things I was going to say, is that not you?
Pardon me?
I missed one of the things I meant to ask. I apologize.
Please. Yeah, you can, please.
Not usually that nervous. I'm kind of a but you get nervous up here, you know. On one of your sections here, page 38, letter C-4 on your, I'm assuming that's your comprehensive plan. It says, regard shall be shown, for trees, and I'm not going to go into wetlands. We know it's not wetlands. There's no steep slopes, water courses, historic natural features. There's none of that here, but there's a lot of trees. And this was all logged off just, 15 years ago? Something like that. 10, 15 years ago, they came in and logged this whole thing off, sold all the valuable timber. So my question is, when you come in here and start taking 1 acre lots, clear all that space for houses, septics, wells, driveways, all that's going to be left is just nothing. I mean, there's some trees on Gilbert Lake Road right now, or I'm sorry, on Sandburg. I just drove out this morning and looked at them. They're nice, but they're big. They're not great trees, but they're big. And I can picture this whole thing. There's not going to be anything left by the time you clear and make lots. It's going to be like kinder corners, but that was a field to start. So, planting trees and all that stuff, I'm sure they're saying we'll plant all kinds of trees. And so I'm sure you have ordinances for that, right? You must have an ordinance to plant some trees. You can't just level it and build a house. So it's just going to look like a big bunch of houses in there. That's my concern, is the trees. There's no good standing timber in there anymore. There's no good strong trees. It's all just brush and shrub. So they're going to have to mow that all down to build this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, one more call, last call for public testimony in the courtroom. Anyone wishing to be heard that hasn't been heard? Anyone? Okay, seeing none, is there anyone online that wishes to address this item? I don't see any hand icons. Anybody online wish to address this item? Okay, seeing none, we will close the public hearing portion, and I would invite you to address any or all of the items that have been presented, whichever you prefer.
Sure. Yes, with the septic systems, each lot will have its own individual well. The KLD did do some engineering. I don't believe it's 100% finished, but they are going to manage stormwater runoff. That's what the ponds are for. There's, I believe, 4 designated ponds on the property, and culverts from the new road and the new houses and the new impervious coverage that we are going to create that are going to flow to those ponds, and so that we are going to handle the stormwater in a manner that is required by Crow Wing County. Lot size was a big hit home. I did do a little bit of research. The Sandburg's Northwood Estates, there's a number of properties down there, and a lot of them are 1 acre or less in size. So it's very fitting for the development. It's very fitting for the neighborhood to have similar size lots than those. There are a few lots that are on Gilbert Lake Road that are closer to 1.3 acres, but they're all, right in that 1 acre lot size or less. This meets with your comp plan. As far as house cost, affordable housing is a interesting topic in today. With every time we turn around, we have price increases and that kind of stuff. We don't have an exact dollar amount of what we're shooting for from pricing. We don't have final house designs put together on this one yet. I would really love to see, a price target of about $400,000 to $500,000 for lot, house, completed package. I would love to be south of that if I could, but I just don't know, without cheapening things up, that's a realistic price target. So I would say, somewhere in that $400,000 to $500,000 range, which sounds like a lot, but unfortunately today for new construction, that is affordable housing.
Okay, anything else you want to address?
Highway Department has looked and reviewed the traffic and traffic counts, and I'm not an expert in that, and I have to rely on that they're smarter than I am. That's it. I think I got everybody else's questions, and if you guys have any questions, I'd be happy, or concerns, I'd be happy to look at them and address them. And
Okay, thank you. We'll bring it back to the board for discussion. Anyone have any items for discussion? I think the only thing I want to point out, somebody said something about we could change the lot size. That's not something that's in our purview. That's something that's zoned and would require a process to rezone those parcels, and that would go to the county board. So that's not an option for us to consider. Questions, discussion? If not, could we bring up the proposed conditions for the preliminary plat? I believe there are 7. And I think they're the standard conditions we would apply to a preliminary plat.
That would be correct.
Sorry, oh, I'm sorry, can't you hear me? Okay. Sorry, ma'am, that we've closed the public testimony. It's now for discussion by the board. The conditions are on the screen. The board, any comments or questions? If not, could we pull up the findings of fact, please? These are the proposed findings for consideration by the board. Anyone have any additions or changes to the findings? Sure. We can. And we'll, if you could scroll through, we'll leave it up there so you could see it. If there are no proposed additions or changes to either the conditions or the findings, then it would be appropriate to have a motion relative to this item.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Sue.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval to the county board, the preliminary plat of Trailside Preserve with the 21 total lots, with the findings of fact submitted in the staff report and the conditions in the staff report.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to recommend approval to the county board for the preliminary plat. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I need to ask you 2 questions before we proceed to vote. Do you understand that this afternoon we are making a recommendation to the county board to approve your preliminary plat request? The county board has final approval over this request.
I do.
And do you understand that the required conditions placed on the preliminary plat must be completed before applying for the final plat?
I do.
With that, we would proceed to a vote then. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. So it's recommended for approval to the county board. The county board will take this item up on what date?
December 16th.
So they'll take this up at their meeting on December 16th, where they have the final approval. Thank you. Item 4.2 on our agenda is Alan Poocher Jr. and Diane Larson for a variance request. Are you here in person or online?
I am online. Kevin
Online.
McCormick.
Kevin McCormick, could you please state your name and address? Well, could you take just a minute here? People are exiting.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Kevin, I think we'll be able to hear you. Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Thank you very much. Kevin McCormick with Land Design Solutions, 11821 Lake Trail, Cross Lake, Minnesota, representing Alan and Diane today. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Nicolette, would you read it into the record, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Tonight we have property owner Alan
Hey,
Pouch.
excuse me, could we catch the door? It's hard to hear. Okay,
So tonight we have property owner Alan Poucher Jr. and Diane Larson. Authorized agent is Kevin McCormick. The the parcel number is 601-80542. Physical address of the property is 36855 Bonnie Lakes Road in Emily, and this is in Fairfield Township. The request for tonight is a variance for a lake setback of 33 feet where 75 is required, to proposed addition to a dwelling and a deck, to construct a 435 square foot addition, and also construct a 384 square foot addition to the south. So we have one addition on the north and one addition on the south. Let me kind of zoom in on the survey so you can see this. All right, so this property is on Goodrich Lake. It is a general development lake with a 75-foot setback. The proposed impervious is 3%. And this bluish purple existing house, this is existing. This is the north addition of 435 square feet. This is the south addition of 384. There was an existing deck off to the side. They are going to push that deck over and keep it flush with the house so they're not increasing any closer to the lake. If you remember from the site visit, they're using their existing septic for this, and this is an existing septic tank that they're trying to maintain that setback of 10 feet. So they have a 14-foot setback here proposed, just to give it a little extra space, but that is why that house cannot be pushed further back. This will be a complete scrape and rebuild. They are adding the additions, and no other comments were received for this application, and I can answer any questions you might have.
does the board have any questions of Nicolette on this item?
I guess the question I have, Mr. Chair, is the request is for a 33-foot setback, but it shows that there's a 30-foot setback required in order to do the 14-foot addition to the north. On this, it's not on our survey, but it's on that one.
If I might add, yes, that's why we showed the building detail on that portion over to the side. Yes, the lake takes a little bit of a turn on the inside in there, and that far corner is 30 feet. What we're trying to emphasize on this piece is that we're holding the existing building line, not going any closer to the lake. As it tips up towards there, you'll see that 30-foot distance does bring it a little bit closer. As you look at the other side where the deck is placed, the lake starts to tip the other way. We start to gain a little ground. So those dimensions there on that northerly addition is correct. That would be a 30-foot setback there.
So that would have to be, the request would be for a 30-foot setback, not a 33. Correct?
All right. Apparently. So the request before us is a 30-foot lake setback where 75 is required. So is the current structure then 30 or 33 feet?
33.5 is the existing structure from that corner to the ordinary high water on Goodrich. You'll see it's 33.5 at both corners.
So is it fair to say then that this is moving closer to the lake, a portion of it, because of the contour of the lot?
Mr. Chair, that would be
Okay,
appropriate.
just so we all know that as we consider it. Okay, any other questions of staff? If not, Mr. McCormick, anything you'd like to add?
No, I think staff would like to thank staff for their job there. Again, very diligent with the reports. I'd just like to emphasize that, yes, we are holding the existing building line. The old deck is just a shade closer. I think you'll see that distance of 31 feet. The new deck, the new additions, they will adhere to that 33.5. As staff noted, the existing sewer tanks, they all meet the current setbacks. What happens with this lot is what we've seen many times before. This structure was placed well before the shoreland ordinance, and that is what creates the practical difficulty with the septic system and the existing structure and the wetlands to the rear. We just don't have a lot of wiggle room to go to it. As the impervious for this does increase, I actually had to round it up to get to the 3%. So in the grand scheme of things, as far as impervious, this is very minimal. With that, if anyone has any questions, otherwise, that's the case.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Don't see any questions, so we'll open up the public hearing portion. Is there anyone present that wishes to address this item? I see none in the courtroom. Is there anyone online that wishes to speak to this item? If so, please indicate with your hand icon. And I see none. So we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for any questions or discussion.
Normally, we don't like to see going closer to the lake, but the way the shoreline curves in, I mean, they're going straight across. I mean, everything's in line, so I understand the minor change in the setback. So I have no issues with this.
Okay,
I echo her comments. It makes sense.
okay.
I just saw the request being 33 feet, and seeing
Yeah.
30 foot.
We got to make sure we get it right. Yep.
Thanks for catching that. Yep, appreciate that. Could we bring up the conditions, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair, conditions are on page 266.
I believe there are 3. Anyone have any additional conditions? If not, can we bring up the findings of fact, please?
Mr. Chair, findings of facts are on page 267.
Anyone have any additions or changes to the findings of fact? If not, a motion on this item would be in order.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance request for 30 feet to the north corner.
Is there a second?
And-
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, with the conditions and the findings of facts.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded for approval of the 30-foot variance. Before we proceed to a vote, Mr. McCormick, I need to ask you 4 questions. Do you understand what is being approved tonight?
Yes, sir, I do.
Do you understand the conditions that are required as part of the approval?
Yes, sir, I do.
Do you understand that you must obtain permits now from the Land Services Department before construction begins?
Yes, sir, I do.
And the last question, do you understand that what is being approved tonight is final? Any future changes to what is being approved tonight, such as structure size, height, or location, must be approved by this board. This means that you would be required to submit a new application, pay the appropriate fees, and provide an updated survey and any other required information with the new request. Staff cannot modify or change what has been approved by this board.
Yes, sir, we understand.
Okay, thank you. Well, then we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
We'd like to thank the staff and the board for their time and the resources, and we appreciate the opportunity to rebuild.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Staff did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. The final item this afternoon is Sean Kirkpatrick Trust for a variance request. You come to the table, please.
Dan Worley with Live For Architecture, 33853 Gendro Road, Cross Lake, representing the owners.
Jason T.C. Barato Brothers Construction, 13872 Schaefer Road, Cross Lake.
Thank you. Nicolette, would you like to read the request into the record, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Tonight, we have property owner Sean Kirkpatrick Trust. The authorized agent is Ben Barato, and Live For Architecture. Parcel number is 682-10581. Physical address is 8421 North Clamshell Lane in Pequot Lakes, Minnesota. This is in Ideal Township, and the request tonight is a variance for a road right-of-way setback of 4 feet, where 35 feet is required, to the proposed attached garage addition. A lake setback of 63 feet, where 75 feet is required, to a proposed covered patio. Drain field setback of 15 feet, where 20 feet is required, to the dwelling. A lake setback of 50 feet, where 75 is required, to a proposed new septic tank. And a lake setback of 40 feet, where 75 feet is required, to a proposed new dwelling. To construct a 254 square foot attached garage addition, 385 square foot covered patio, 128 square foot covered porch entry on the non-lake side, and a 274 square foot addition to the dwelling on the non-lake side, and install a new type 1 septic system. Your certificate of survey is on page 272, and I will walk you through each of these requests. So we're going to start on the road side for the road right-of-way for the 4-foot setback, if you can see my mouse. This is where that road right-of-way in the property line for the cul-de-sac. We have a 4-foot setback proposed for the garage addition. This hatch entryway here, or this hatched section, is the existing garage. The plan is to extend out and create more garage space here. So that is the 254 square foot garage addition. Currently, there is the entry of the home on the lake side on over here. The plan is to move the entry of the home on the non-lake side, so you have the covered porch entry of 128 square feet right here, with a 9-foot setback to the property line, road right of way. And then this would be covered entry. This section right here is the proposed addition to the house, which will be enclosed. This is the entryway. This is the 274 square foot addition here as well. On the lake side, this section will be added. This meets ordinance requirements and that 75-foot setback. So that's part of this, but then this is an existing overhang. So this is already there. And then this square right here is the proposed 385 square foot covered patio. So the patio already exists. A roof will be added or is proposed. We did receive one comment from the town. Oh, septic location. I apologize. So this is going to be the proposed septic tank, 12 feet from the house, 10 is required. But it will be 50 feet back from the lake. And then we have a proposed drain field in this rectangle here, which will actually be 40 feet back from the lake. The existing drain field is here. The proposal is for a new septic within this as well. One comment was received from the township recommending approval.
Mr. Chair, if I could, just as a reminder, the state standard for septic setbacks to a general development lake is 50 feet. Crowing has a more restrictive setback of 75, so the septic tank actually meets setbacks, would be the 50 feet would meet the state standard. The drain field is obviously a little bit closer at 40 feet, but if you look at the location of the existing drain field, this is moving further away from the lake. It's going to be a new drain field, so it'll be much better for the water quality of the lake as well. We did receive a comment earlier today. We didn't get a chance to get printed off for you. Somebody had made a comment wondering why we'd approve a variance at 40 feet for a septic system and why we wouldn't make them meet setbacks. And the response was because there's no building envelope to locate it, and it's pushing it further away from the lake than what's currently there right now. So just want to give you that extra information.
Oh, thanks, Chris. Any questions of staff at this point? Anything you'd like to add?
Just a little background. I think most of you guys were on site, but the garage situation, it's an older building that's been kept up, but they can't fit a vehicle in the garage because it's so short. So that's the ask there. The cabin entry, you have to walk all the way around the house to get into the building, and we're trying to correct that. Those are both the township related items, and we did meet with them, and they seem to be okay with that. The septic situation, as Chris mentioned, we are improving that. We're not making that worse, we're trying to make that better. And that patio does exist. We're just trying to extend the living area a little bit out into the already covered area.
Well, yeah, and so there's a bay window and an overhang and stuff on that already, so that, it's space they use that's already there. That septic is underneath there too, so for us, getting that out of there and improving that, and then we would remove the stoop off that lakeside also. And where Nicolette had mentioned that existing overhang, it's kind of deceiving from the plans. There's elevation, that's 2 or 3 steps. You probably could see it in the photos, but.
Okay, anything else? If not, we'll open it up for public testimony. Anyone in here? I see a no. And so we have no one else in person, and I'll go online, and I see a hand up, so please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, Michael Valley here. I'm at 8459 North Clamshell Lane, a neighbor, and I was actually the one that asked that question about the septic setback, and I was hoping to get a little more clarity about the risk of the drain field to the lake of being 40 feet versus 50 feet, and I think that was partly answered. Is there, I guess my question surrounds just the setbacks and how it's determined, and is there safety issues with a 40-foot setback, even though I understand that the current drain field is within that 40 foot as it is. So I guess just a little better understanding of how these setbacks are determined and when there is a safety issue with the environment in the lake based on the setback.
Sure, Mr. Chair, I'd be happy to answer that. So when a septic system is constructed, it is required that the drain field have 3 feet of separation. That's considered to be soil that is dry, that's not wet, doesn't have any issues where there's a water table. So there's a 3-foot separation to that, and the state of Minnesota says through the Pollution Control Agency that when you have a septic system that has that 3 feet of separation, what that does is it actually cleans the water so that when it exits the bottom of that drain field, it can go back in the environment and be considered clean water as far as going into the lake and frankly for consumption as well. So there is, ideally we want to try to push septic systems away from the lake as far as we can. We try to get as many structures away from the lake as well, just because we're trying to avoid dirt moving in those areas and trying to avoid erosion situations. But from the standpoint of having a septic system at 40 feet away from the lake in this spot here, it's the best situation considering the significant limitations that the lot provides.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I see no one else, So we'll bring it back to the board. Any discussion? If not, could we bring up first the conditions? There's 3 conditions proposed for the variance.
Mr. Chair, conditions are on page 288.
Any additions to the conditions? Seeing none, can we pull up the findings of fact?
Mr. Chair, findings of fact are on page 289.
Any proposed changes or additions to the findings of fact? Hearing none, a motion on the item would be in order. I will move approval of the variance. Is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Rock. Before we go to a vote, I need to ask you the 4 questions you heard just a minute ago. Do you understand what is being approved tonight?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand the conditions that are required as part of the approval?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that you must obtain permits now from the Land Services Department before construction begins?
Yes, sir.
And finally, do you understand that what is being approved tonight is final? Any future changes to what is being approved tonight, such as structure size, height, or location, must be approved by this board? This means that you would be required to submit a new application, pay the appropriate fees, and provide an updated survey and any other required information with the new request. Staff cannot modify or change what has been approved by this board.
Yes, sir.
With that, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that completes our business items, so we would move to matters not on the agenda.
Correct. So just a couple things for next month. December 18th, we have the Planning Commission meeting. We have our on-sites will be on December 4th. And then we have some stuff to go over next month. It's going to be a little bit of a busy meeting. We will have the ordinance public hearing. We're going to have an appeal of a staff decision. So staff made a decision for a property up in Jenkins Township. I believe it's in Jenkins Township on Delta Bay, where the Pine River comes into Whitefish. And there's a plat that was done, and there was block 1 and block 2. And so you had block 1 is the non-riparian, and then there's the block that goes with it. And they were meant to be basically giving access across Delta Bay Drive to get down to the lake. And somebody decided they wanted to sell one of these lots that were in block 2 that was intended for only to provide access. And so now somebody bought it and they want to build a house there. And so we've got information, we've got records, we'll provide all that to you, that show that we've got county board minutes from 1971 that say those were not buildable lots, they were meant for access for the lots behind, and that information. And so they've got an attorney to represent him who's going to try to, convince you guys otherwise that this is considered a buildable lot. It did require a wetland replacement plan as well, so the lot is basically floodplain and wetland. They could have met setbacks, I think, right? Or would they had a variance? I can't remember.
Oh, no, they would have been able, just a wetland replacement plan.
Yeah, they could have met setbacks. So it is a fairly big, the lots as you head up to the, kind of more up to the north on it are much smaller. This is a little bit bigger lot, but I think that was just because it was the remnant when they platted it. And so, but just to give you guys that heads up that that's coming down the pike.
Before you go, are you done with that item?
Yep.
Can you just refresh us? I think it's in the ordinance, but will you refresh us what our process is relative to those?
Absolutely. So just to go back to the very beginning. So Minnesota Statutes 394 has a provision that says any decision made by staff is appealable to the Board of Adjustment. And so in our ordinance, we've got a provision under 8.7 that has that in place. And so we're required to have a public hearing. We're required to publish notice. We don't mail notice to people. We don't have to mail notice out to it. We just publish the public hearing. And then you have to decide based on 2 criteria. You're finding a facts are based on 2 criteria. One is, was the decision made by staff arbitrary and capricious? And number 2, was it not in conformance with the ordinance? Those are the two, the standards that has to be met to show that, you know, staff either made the right choice or made the wrong choice. And so the way that would work is that the attorney is putting together a brief now. He's going to provide that to staff. And then I'm going to provide a memo to you guys, kind of a response. And then during the public hearing, the attorney and possibly the property owner will sit at the table and present their case. I'll present my case. You guys will deliberate and then decide if you think staff made the right decision or the wrong decision. If we made the right decision and you denied the appeal, they got a 30-day window to appeal that to district court. And then, you know, if I don't know how that would happen, but if, let's say you said I made the wrong decision, you know, technically the county board could sue you and take you to court. That has happened in Wright County, where their county board sued their board of adjustment.
Well, that'd be interesting.
It would be very interesting. So they sued themselves. So that'll be the process.
Do we need findings, or is our finding simply to make a decision on those two items?
Part of my memo to you will include a finding of fact worksheet with those two, and I will list the findings in that, why I think, so I will have a preliminary finding.
You'll
of
have a
fact for you.
draft.
So this lot was not tied to the other properties by a tax roll or anything? It was
No.
a standalone lot that somebody paid taxes on for
PID,
this last?
correct. But if you go up into the plat, Lot 1 owns Lot 1. Lot 2 owns Lot 2. Lot 3 owns Lot 3. I mean, everybody owns it. To be honest, I think the sticky wicket on this is that the plat should have said this, and it didn't. And so what the plat said is kind of the verbiage they put on back then, which is basically subject to restrictions and basically that. And so we're arguing, well, the restriction came from the county board when they approved the final plat, stating that Block 2 was not meant to be buildable lots. So that's where we're kind of hanging our hat on that.
In a perfect world, that should have been reflected on the plat.
Correct. And what they're going to argue is that, well, when we did our title search, that didn't show up. That's going to be one of their big arguments. That didn't come up in a title search. And it's true. It didn't come up in a title search. But just because it's not everything on the title is everything that controls a piece of property. So just a heads up on that.
Okay.
How many variances are not going to
How
be
many
on now?
on-sites?
We had 2 taken away. So we had 2 variances get taken off and
Yep.
1
So we're going to have, so next month we'll have 5 variances, 2 conditional use permits, 3 LUMAs, and 1 preliminary plat. And then the appeal of staff decision and the ordinance.
We have eight items for site visit, because we don't need to go to the LUMAs, right?
Right.
So 8 items for site.
I plan on being at the on-sites.
Okay.
Andy too? Okay.
The one bit of feedback I think I would like to provide is that when people call after the meetings and sometimes they're upset, they sometimes feel like you didn't interact with them enough, like respond when they were after the, and give some feedback. I think on that plat tonight, I'm guessing I'll probably get some phone calls tomorrow and next week that you didn't listen to them. And they'll say they didn't even talk to us. They didn't respond to any of our questions, especially the woman in the front row who said we didn't answer all of her questions and stuff. So I just think when we have those, especially the contentious ones, I know it's no fun and we don't like it, but we need to banter with them a little bit, and because we just got remember the CUP for the up on Pelican that got appealed for the dock lift for Kitzman. We just saw the brief on that, and their argument is that you ignored all of you didn't talk to them, you didn't listen to them, the public comment didn't matter. That's what Seaver's, it's baloney. I mean, you did a great job with that one. So that was something they're hanging their hat on. But one thing I did notice that Jason Kubuchek, who's our attorney, when I read his brief today, was making comments about, the county has preliminary findings in the report. They've got conditions in the report. But he was making it very clear that when we make motions, we say we approve we're going to approve the variance for 63 feet, based on the preliminary, the finding of fact in the, I mean, I think he wants you to actually verbally say that.
I personally think that's lawyering BS.
It could be, yep.
Does the county board do that when they make their motions on very momentous things? No. Does the county attorney say to them, Well, you need to say all the detail that's in the record. No. And has it diminished their ability relative to getting sued? No. So, I mean, you could say we should read the entire summary of the staff report in our motion to say we've incorporated all these things, but I think any person that reads it says, well, the staff report was presented, it was in the record, we heard it. Of course, we brought the findings up, we brought the conditions up, we didn't change it. So we're now saying that in summary, we're moving to approve it. So I have to go all the way back through all those steps in order to, for the lawyer to say, that's making it more legitimate. I would suggest, that just seems lawyering to me. I would think I think a judge is smarter than that.
Well, and I think Jason would argue, probably, if he was here, that some of the decisions that the county board makes versus the decisions you make are maybe different in nature, land use, and I think he's going off of, previous case law and how they've seen, things happen in the past, so.
They make land use decisions, they make LUMAs, they make plats.
Thanks, Andy.
Yep, see you, Andy. I mean, I accept his point, but I'm just saying, I bet I could talk to other lawyers that would say the record is clear. It's part
Right.
of the record,
Yep.
right?
Well, and I think a lot of times when we get the appeal and the judges make the decision, they oftentimes will editorialize a little bit about what was good and what wasn't good. I remember when we had the CUP appeal for Trout Lake Camp, they editorialized that our findings were weak. They were good enough, but they're kind of weak, is what the Court of Appeals said. So, sometimes they'll give us a little feedback and tell us things that they thought we should have done different or better. So we'll hear that. We haven't even got it. There's no. They have to still go now present to the Court of Appeals. So that's 3 judges. They have to go present to them, and Severson will be there, and then Jason will be there, and they'll do their little thing. Staff won't have to be there, I don't think, but. So just that, I think that's the only thing that I noticed when reading his brief today, that he was really focusing on, the finding a fact in the packet and that stuff. So, but otherwise, I don't think, he made it very clear today that he thinks we'll win. He thinks we have a very strong argument and a good case and a good file, so he's not worried about it.
Can I go back to the interaction thing? I'm not sure I'm following the point. We've never, at least my service here, we've never gone back and forth as a board with people providing public input.
I think when it's done, I think after they're not while they're doing it, but after they're done, I think some of them feel like you didn't consider their ideas because you never mentioned it. I think so.
Well, I mentioned one.
Yep.
We're not obligated, we can't rezone.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
It was mentioned that the highway department already has weighed in.
Yep.
Spoke to the traffic concern. I had the list in front of me. The applicant spoke to the price of homes. He spoke, we already addressed the lot size, which was their big issue.
Right.
That was done by the county board. We didn't address the house on the hill. That's a very specific thing.
I know which one they're talking about, but.
We, of course, didn't address trees because, of course, any development takes down trees. So, I mean, I went through the list as I was listening, and I didn't see anything that hadn't been answered. And if they heard what you said at the beginning, you answered a number of their questions.
Right, exactly.
So,
That they didn't listen to.
Right.
They didn't listen
No,
to
exactly.
it, right? So, I mean, I don't know, I thought, but you're not suggesting we start a banter? back and
No,
forth,
not at
because
all.
And my view is, it's public testimony, so you put questions on the record.
Right. Yep.
And sometimes we respond to them, and sometimes.
Right. And when people call me and have these complaints, when they don't like it, I say that the board has a discretion. I said, as to how they choose to interact and what questions they want, and they direct staff to do what you want us to do and respond. Sometimes I'll admit I probably jump in and answer questions. I should probably look into the chair first before I answer some questions, but.
It's not our responsibility to address traffic safety. If they got an issue with a hill on the road or something on Wise Road, they need to contact the highway department. That's not they had the adequate ingress and onto the Wise Road through Gilbert Lake Road and Trailside. That's what we look at. I'm not an expert when it comes to traffic safety. That, they need to address that with the highway department if there's an issue with the hill or something.
Yeah, and Highway never mentioned that in their comment about traffic and those issues. I think you have, I mean, if you wanted to, I think from a board perspective, you could say, I think this is gonna increase the traffic out here. I don't think we should approve the plat.